Pan. Prima. Where's your frisbee, kitty? Scarf. Fine. Fine. Scarf. Skylar.
Awesome. Whoa, hey everybody. How's it going? That snuck up on me. Didn't expect that. How is everybody doing tonight? I'm Ron Watson, Positive Vibe, host of DiscDogger Weekly, host of DiscDog.Live. Here we are. We're here again. Just have Epi and C and Pan out right now. It's not very exciting. Is there anything going on the busted cam? No. I'm going to turn the black and white off the busted cam though, and I'm going to turn the mirror off. Ooh, I gotta hide the thing there. So yeah, I got some stuff lined up for tonight. Some generic things. I had a request to talk a little bit about UpDog, so I'm going to talk just a little bit about UpDog, and have this really cool thing from a while back from 2012. I think the article itself is from like 2010. But a mind map that I want to run through. It's a dog training thing. It applies to Frisbee in particular, I think, but it's a dog training thing. So that's kind of cool. And I hope to have some interesting conversations with some of you guys. Feel free to sound off. Facebook users, there's a link that I posted at the beginning of chat if you want to share comments with your avatar. Otherwise, you will be Facebook user, and that's kind of lame. So, all right, let's get started. Seeing as how we don't have a bevy of chatters, our chat seems to be a little bit shy. You guys should get cracking. Come on, get on it. So let's see. Hope you guys dug that Polka puppy video, man. Holy cow, she was something else cute. So, uh-oh. Oh, there we go. Hey, Anu, how are you? Good to see you. So, gonna get started with a little bit of Updog, Time Warp Level 2, and that's pretty cool. Time Warp Level 2 is super fun. Sal, settle your dogs, settle your dogs. Settle down, simmer down now, simmer down, everybody. Super cool, I'm glad you made it, Sal. So, here we go. Let's do, we got Gary and Spice and Loot and I playing Level 2 Time Warp. Check it out. Yes, top. Karam. Good cat. What?
Ready, set, go.
Gary playing with Spice. Got himself a ringer.
Oh, Spice.
She
Sorry,
looked
baby
like
girl.
She was just out
Spice.
of the third zone. Throwing for that third zone.
Come on,
Time
Spice.
Warp is the same.
45 seconds.
3 zones in a row,
Ow.
but the zones start at the from the 10 to 20. You don't have the one right from the throwing line.
Ready? Go.
So Gary's got to get the sweet spot now, and he played it.
30 seconds.
The last disc crosses the line is what stops the time warp.
Time warp complete.
Time warp complete. And
30 seconds.
Here, he's got to wrangle the dog and disc. If Spice, Gary, and the disc are behind the line, that will stop time. He's still trying to get his 25-point bonus.
Go.
So he's going to send the dog around first and then step back behind the line in order to make that throw.
30 seconds.
Sweet. Pretty sweet. Not a bad score in level 2.
Time warp complete.
15 seconds.
Sweet spot.
Right, Looter. Looter! I wonder what's going to happen this time. Wonder if we'll beat our high score.
Ready,
We'll do better than we did
set,
last time. I love
go.
Catch, loot, loot. Is it catching a 10 to 20? Catching the sweet spot.
45 seconds.
Catch in the 30 to 40.
Yeah.
Makai?
Looter!
And the sweet spot.
30 seconds.
Bring it in, Toodles. Bring it in, Handsome.
Good.
Time warp
Do it.
complete.
Great work. See that score sheet there.
15 seconds. 10. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Time. All right, so that was Time Warp Level 2, Gary and I. Kind of cool. From some filming stuff we did for Updog several years ago. That was kind of fun. Oh, I don't have my light on back there. I got a couple things I got to do. You see the rider's all dark? I'm gonna brighten him up, raise the ambiance of my backdrop there. So, anybody here like the game of Time Warp? I think a lot of people like Time Warp. I have to fix this camera. Question is, will I fix it or will I make it worse? I think that'll work. All right. All right. So, nobody likes Time Warp. Why does everybody hate Time Warp all of a sudden? It's so sad. So, let's see. Sal's got her dogs getting settled. I don't know what it says my...
Sweet spot.
Uh-oh. Didn't mean to do that. What is playing? Where am I at? I don't want that. YouTube says I'm not sending enough data. Is the stream okay, guys? Is it shitty quality? I don't know. We're gonna press on through. So I do kind of want to wait for some people to get here. Invite your friends, guys. Invite your friends. Nobody's here. This video's okay, I hope. I would like to... oh shit, I wanted ultra low latency. Yeah, let me see what's going on here. Am I here? Am I here? Hey, am I here? I hope I'm here. Alright, looks good. I think we're good. We now have an excellent connection. Alright, so, shit. I was hoping to have some dialogue and stuff going on. Sal, what's going on with your dogs? Anu, what's going on with your dogs? I think you guys are here. So I have the stream setting at low latency, which means we're going to be, I don't know, several seconds, 10 seconds out of sync. The ultra low latency allows me to interact a little better with you guys. So I got to make sure I do a better job of that. So I have... awesome! Yes! Go on new! Yes! Isn't that the best? It's one of my favorite things. That's awesome, Sal. I don't know who... Oh, okay. Next dog's mom. Gotcha. Gotcha. That's exciting. It's exciting. I'm glad Streak is still participating in the sportsing. Streak is still sportsing. That's great. And I take it Prowl is still smashing rollers. Is that right? All right, so I have this. Oh, I don't know. Hang on, let me. Oh, geez, should have planned for this. I thought I did though. All right, so screen share. So I have this this mind map this piece I wrote back a long time ago. It's the 4 principles of positive dog training, and it's pretty interesting. Pretty much everything we do is encapsulated within these 4 principles, and how we navigate them, and how we prioritize and structure the rules of them kind of dictates how we do, how we succeed and how we fail. I think that in dog training, I think I can say it like that. There's always a trade-off in anything. You have to pay the piper. You can pay now or you can pay later, but you're going to pay. And dog training has that like built into it, just like life, right? These principles that I'm talking about are it's criteria, marking, or positive marker. It's positive training after all. Rate of reinforcement, reward placement. And those 4 principles like govern our dog training success and understanding. I mean, they're 4 really important things. And how we interpret these principles and where we place our emphasis, whether we have any pet peeves or, things like that we're hyper focused on. When we place emphasis in different places within these principles, different things happen, different results happen. And this flow chart or mind map that I have here is pretty cool. I'll gloss over it real quick, and then I think we'll kind of move on to something else. I'll kind of lay it out and we'll let it stew for a few, see if we can't get a few more people here. So the 4 principles of positive dog training, we have criteria, and it should probably be setting criteria. Here, let me fix that actually, make it jive with the rest of it. So we can call that setting criteria. Mark for behavior, rate of reinforcement, reward for position. So setting criteria, the criteria we set regulates the markable behaviors that we experience from then on, right? So this initial setting of the criteria and attentiveness to the setting of criteria throughout a session, really, really important. And everything falls from there. Once we're marking behaviors and throwing cookies around, we now have a rate of reinforcement going on. And the markable behaviors regulate the cookies per minute. Oh, hang on, let me do this. CPM equals cookies per minute. All right, so our cookies per minute is regulated by the behaviors we choose to mark, right? Which is chosen by the criteria that we set initially. And then up at the top we have rewarding for position. Reward placement regulates the rate of reinforcement as well. And criteria selection and reward placement, they need to play well together. They have to play well together. If they don't play well together, then we have a problem, right? And so these 4 principles, zip, zip, please. These 4 principles are all like interwoven, overlapped, interleaved, all that stuff. And there's a ton of personal expression and strategies and tactics within them. When I found this the other day, I kind of realized that that it's, hey, I'll get you guys out in a sec. You gotta wait. I'm doing a live stream. Leave me alone. This is kind of an ideology layout, a positive training ideology layout. And what's really important within dog training is not necessarily whether you do it positively or negatively or what tools you use or don't use or blah, blah, blah. Zip, zip. What's really important is adherence and understanding of your ideology. That what do you do when this happens? What is the most important thing for a dog to do? Those kinds of questions are upstream of these principles a lot of times. And I think within this 4 principles of positive dog training, I'm putting these principles into into the ideology, or these principles govern the ideology. I don't know. I think it's important to have an ideology. If we can get someone to call in, you can call in, Skype me. I'm username K9Disc, letter K, number 9, DISC. Or I can turn the interview thing on. We can try and break the stream again. If anyone wants to call in and talk about this topic, you can Skype me. As I said, I am username at K9Disc on Skype. And or you can do this. Oh, okay. Well, that's interesting. It's not going to be a special invite, unfortunately. It's just going to be generic, but you can click to join live with that link. So Skype me, click to join live. We can hang out and talk about this dog training stuff. So, there we go. We're back to this. Yeah, so I kind of want to get deep into the weeds on these topics. I think the way that this lays out is a good discussion on dog training. Uncovered a bunch of things for me personally and for a couple of our clients with this just over the last couple days. So it's pretty cool. Anybody have anybody see anything interesting on here, or have any opinions about the 4 key principles laid out, or anything like that? All right. So let me see. All right, so it looks like crossing questions. Here we go. An excerpt from our DiscDog.Live class. We do a Zoom class. It meets Tuesdays at 2 p.m. Eastern and Fridays at 7 p.m. Eastern. So check out this little excerpt. We hang out for a couple hours, talk about Frisbee dog stuff and whatever kind of dog training stuff comes up. You guys kind of catch the idea how that works?
Can you hear me if I ask a question?
Yeah, totally. Yep.
Okay. Well, I guess I have two questions. But
You want to
on
run
some of
another
those
one, April?
passes,
Uh-huh.
on some of those passes, it looked like you were about to throw a forehand, and then you switched to throw a backhand, or vice versa.
This is a great question, by the
Was
way.
that because of where the dog was, or was that your plan all along?
So I was using a crossing pass largely because that gives me the opportunity to start it. So if you're coming in and you're already on clock, right?
Yep.
And or you release clock. So you release that way, right? And you start to turn in and you've got me here and I just throw the pass here.
Yep.
It's like a free release pass, right?
Right.
Which is going to be like poofy.
Good word.
It's going to
Good
be,
word.
right? But if you're
Like somewhere
there,
between a flank and a pass.
right? It's not crisp, and I can't control where it starts. Follow?
Okay.
Or when it
Yeah.
starts.
So in the same position, if we get here and now I'm like, oh shit, I need to pass. I'm gonna pass, and now we've got this very clearly delineated starting point.
that I
Gotcha.
started.
Okay.
Right? And so, you want to do another? Okay. All right.
And what we're doing here, let me switch my camera real quick. Well, what we're doing here is we're doing flank or pass. So April's gonna make a throw to Marty, and as soon as he catches it, I'm gonna tell her flank or pass, and she has to make a flanking throw or a passing throw, right? And the idea is you get told what to do early enough, plenty early enough for you to do it. And then you have to figure out which way your dog's going, what throw you're going to make. You got to figure out a bunch of things immediately after you're asked to flank or pass.
As soon as if I
great
call
lesson.
flank, read his flank and push him out right away from there.
Okay.
And April's having a little problem with the game. She hadn't really played it before. She doesn't do a bunch of flat work with Marty. He does a bunch of show stuff, right? So it's real small and straight, coming at her, going away from her. So
Wait on him.
she's trying to figure out how to do this.
Flank.
So she should throw. So see how close he was to her? That's pretty much a pass.
Good job, buddy.
And here, let me redo that. So
And push him out right away from there.
Okay.
Don't wait on him. Flank.
So I just told her flank. You see where he is? She could very easily throw up there towards the hero logo right now. She totally could. But she's not prepared. She hasn't loaded her disc. And now he's turned. She could still throw behind the hero to the center of the top of the screen, right? But she's not prepared and she doesn't know what to do. And so now she's like, okay, well, let me make this. And it winds up being a pass.
Good job, buddy.
Let's restart.
Yep, and I'm not going to ask her to do flank or pass from.
Spot.
And you don't have to throw so they can see. I have a camera here, so they just
Yeah,
need to
and I-
see your handling of the dog.
I do think April was trying
Flank?
to.
So yeah, out
So
there,
she's going to
beauty.
push him out
Yep.
there, right? And he's
Pass.
stayed far away from her. And now she'll pull him real close.
And flank. So yeah, it'll be side armor, overhand wrist flip out there at the tree.
Yep. And so look at the time between this.
So yeah, it'll be side. And flank.
1/1000.
So yeah, it'll be side
2
armor over-
1000. So the flank would be at the top of the screen. 3-1.
Wrist flip out there at the tree.
4. Right? So it wasn't that she was rushed.
Pass.
Marty.
So here she's ready, so that's very easy, and now she's got it.
And now she ran the
Yeah,
dog
he's sticky.
through that
Okay.
pass.
He's not dropping.
No, they're getting stuck in his teeth.
Oh, is he? So super arrows are in his future. They're getting stuck in his. He's putting his teeth through him, and he can't drop it.
That's interesting because I've just been playing up dog.
Uh huh.
Just been doing heavy plastic.
Yeah.
It's the first time I played with extras in a while. Yeah, he's like, they're getting stuck in his teeth.
Can you guys hear that?
All right, so I have to get dogs out, guys. I've been bad. They're loud and they're right. So check this out. I hope it's shaping
Right there,
out.
right on the blue line.
Yeah, perfect. I'll be back in a
Perfect.
few.
That's good.
Hit me up if you have any questions.
So
Don't
you'll
be
send
shy.
her around, and what's your around cue?
I just say around, I guess this.
Okay. So if you say around, get out, like one word.
Okay, around, get out.
Around, get out, toe turn.
And when you say toe turn,
Dot. Round, get out, dot, boom.
and I'm thrown that way.
Yep.
Okay,
Yep. And then we'll do 3 of those,
okay,
and then it'll be around here. Around dash here, all one word.
okay,
Pop your disc, and then you'll throw over kind of where those people are walking.
okay.
All right? So 3 round, get out, 1 around here. Face me. Yep.
You said around, get out.
Yep.
Around, get out.
Beauty. And toe turn with the left toe.
Toe turn.
So you'll go around, toe turn.
Oh shit, okay.
Yep, you're all right. So face me to start. We want to set this up as if we're coming this way. Yep. Round, get out, toe turn with the left.
Around, get out.
Boom. Beauty. Beauty. And 1 more of those.
Girl.
And if you turn towards me, that'll draw her into the front.
Oh, okay.
Yep. Here you go. Round, get out. Beauty. And then turn towards me. And now you don't have a toss and fetch retrieve. She's going to approach. Ideally, she approaches to the front, but she doesn't know because when you make the throw, you immediately
What's up,
address
guys?
her wherever she's coming from,
Okay.
right? And that addressing allows pressure, slows down the retrieve. If you turn here, she should come to this side. If you turn here, she should come to this side.
Okay.
So this time around here and throw over there. Around here, yep,
Around here.
yep. And then we'll go around, get out, 3 more that way.
Okay. Come on, Pop. Why did she overrun like that?
It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. Around, get out, beauty. And then around, get out, 2 of those, 2 more.
Around, get out.
Beauty.
Yeah, here. Around, get out.
Awesome. And then around here. It's like, it's a lot of work. I got to think here.
Around here.
Yep.
Sorry, bad.
You're all right. No, it's
In and
perfect.
in, guys.
And now
Come
just
on.
send her around and throw one out this way.
Pan.
Around.
Pan. Epic.
See how nice and slow
Pan.
that was? Right? And it wasn't because
C.
she was tired, although that's helping. But she was out another 1.5 feet, 2 feet. She looked in
Go,
because
go, go.
she didn't know whether it was going over there or over there.
Yeah.
You have this, that,
Come on,
and the
C.
other.
Would this eventually help when you want them to like, not to out the disc out in the field so you can go again?
So what's going to help with that? Let's leash her up so you don't have to worry about her.
I can't fucking hear you.
Right? I know. And you know what? Let's knock off on that so we don't tire her out too much. Let's go back.
Okay.
So what is going to help with that when you face her? Okay, it's a retrieve, 100%.
Okay.
When you are here and she's coming in laterally, it's not a retrieve. It's not set up.
I'm sorry, what was that?
So if you're coming towards me with the disc,
Yes.
this is a retrieve. I must deliver it here.
Okay.
But when you're moving like that, this is not a retrieve. Not automatically,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
And that idea of not automatically, not having the picture of, oh, yup, this is go get it, bring it here,
will help loosen that up.
Ninja. Thanks
so
for
that-
subscribing. Awesome. Okay, so a couple of things about this session. First of all, the turning to the side a little bit. If you've got a dog who retrieves, you've done a lot of toss and fetch. Turning to the side sets up, it's really easy to slip by me. It's much easier to move left and right of the handler for dogs who do a lot of linear stuff. It's much easier for them to move left and right in front of the handler than it is for them to go from front to back to the handler, right? For them to like pop through you and go that way. It's a little bit hard. Moving them left to right, it's real easy to get them to go by us. And if that's the case, as they're running by, it's easy for them to drop if they have a place to go over there. And then you can get them to drop it at a distance. It's a little further from you. Hey, Mango, don't do that. Thank you. The other thing that I think is pretty important about this is that 3-to-1 ratio. I call it the golden ratio of reinforcement, I think is what I called it. Let me see here. Don't want to lose my thing. Let me see. pvibe.com. I can share this with you. There's no reason you can't be party to this. It should be this one over here, though, is the one that I want you to hang out with me on. Don't want it on primary display. I want it on Safari. Positive vibe home. Golden ratio. I'm going to post this link for you. So the idea is you use 3 reps of the strong behavior and to 1 rep of the weak behavior, right? So if I'm doing spin and twist and one of them is strong and one of them is weak, I'm going to do 3 of the strong ones and then 1 of the weak one. And I think it's just the opposite of what most people do. And the reasoning behind it is that we want to, Epi, off. You can't do that, buddy. You can't just come in and manhandle your way into my lap. It's not okay. We use 3 of the good one, the one that's easy, so we can build up the game, right? Boom, 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 yes, yes, yes. And then we do the weak one that's similar thing, almost the same thing, but not quite. And it takes a little while, and then yes. And then we go, yes, yes, yes. And then we throw it back in the court or in the corner of that new, weaker trick. And when we have things that are very similar, like drop and give, or spin and twist, or fakie and rebound, or I don't know, anything that's potentially conflated, right? Around get out, around go away from me, like laterally, and around stay tight to me, right? That dog Punk, the pit bull, she's serious, dude. She's going upfield. She is going out there for that toss and fetch game, man. Get out of the way. And by using the get out and putting it right next to the around, the regular around, or the here, we get good contrast between the two. And that was a little bit of a violation of the rules of the golden ratio, but as we're going to talk about in that piece on the 4 principles of positive training, that's kind of what it's all about. Breaking rules. Breaking rules is a big deal. How you break them, why you break them,
when you break them. That's what's important. So yeah, around get out versus around here. Pretty cool lesson. Pretty cool lesson. So let's see. What else do we got? Anyone out there in chat? Ninja? Anyone?
No! What am I doing here? No.
And now for something completely different.
All right.
Yes, good man.
Little localized landing and trajectory.
Yes, good man.
Using my hoop to control where and how he leaps.
Good. Oops. Stop. Oh. Awesome. Wait. Oop. Yes, good man. Awesome. Oop. Yes.
Whoa.
Oh, that's crazy. Huh? Off. Oop. Yes, good man. Oop. Yes, good man. Wait. Oop. Yes, awesome. Great work. Off. Stop. Uh-oh. What happened? Good. Good. Cut. Stop. Yes. Off. Yes. Good man. Stop. Whoa, that was tough. That was tough. That was super tough. Wait. Stop. Yes. Good man. Great work. Off. Awesome. Spot. Great work. Hoop. Yes. Wait. Awesome. That's some fine weight in there, buddy. Wait.
That
Stop.
is happy. You're a fine waiter.
Awesome. Off. Yes. Hoop. Yes. Good man. Great work. Awesome. Put your dog stuff.
All right. There's the screen share. And why does it keep going to default application? All right. So the other day, we were talking about how we make decisions when we're training dogs, and the strategy and tactics we employ, and how we switch gears and process the information that we're receiving while we're doing this stuff, like kind of in real time, process it and put it to use, right? And so one of the things I think that's really important, and I mentioned it a little earlier, is this idea of ideology, right? So we have an ideology, and I was talking to my brother about this, and he's a super smart guy, but he doesn't like to do theory and shit like that. He's not into that, right? He's not. He as soon as I mentioned ideology, his fucking eyes glazed over. He was like, you know. But my brother also has a pretty well-defined ideology. Like, everybody knows where he stands. And my brother's not the easiest guy to get along with, right? But his ideology, his rule set of how he is and who he is, it matches his actions, and everybody knows it, right? And that's really important, you know, especially if you're going to be difficult, or if you're going to be doing a difficult job, if you're working hard with people and for people and you're trying to lead. It's really important that your ideology matches your actions and your intent and your rhetoric and all that stuff. And I don't think people, outside of saying I'm a positive trainer, I don't think they know what their ideology is. And I don't think they know what goes into an ideology, right? And an ideology is just a prism through which we look at the world, or at a particular situation within the world, if that's the type of ideology it is. Anyway, after talking to my brother about that, he totally got what I was saying. And we started kicking around some ideas, and it was a super cool conversation. But our ideology is really important when we're trying new things and when we're struggling, right? So if we're trying new things, we have to make sure that what we're trying jives with our ideology. We have to make sure that we're not going to do something that doesn't fit who we are as a trainer, handler, teammate, friend, whatever, to our dogs, right? Ideological breaks within like new types of training, or drift, ideological drift, where formerly balanced trainer winds up purely positive, and then their original ideology that kind of made them special and that their dog relied on to keep them in check, let's say, those occasional punishers, positive punishment things that would happen, the management of resources and assets, and just, you know, clamping down on liberties, and then all of a sudden, boom, we have a purely positive trainer, all of a sudden, meaning 3-6 months later kind of thing. And now the handler's different, the team is different, the dog is different, the dog is responding to essentially a different handler and team. And if that ideological drift or the new stuff that you're working is not ideologically compatible with you and your team, your dog training, your handling style, you could be in trouble. You could have trouble being successful, you could have trouble with engagement, you could have a lot of trouble. So, like, knowing what we're doing and why we're doing it, kind of important when we're talking about implementing the kind of suggestions that trainers and coaches are going to help you implement. The trainer and coach is essentially standing in as your ideology, or as your ideological filter. And so the trainer or coach is going to assess the situation, make a plan, or change, more importantly, more likely, change the plan at a moment's notice, on a whim. Dude, Epi, go do dog stuff. Dude, you guys are being bad. You guys go. Ep, go. 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 Yeah, I see you. I see you. You guys are dicks. Guys are dicks. Nothing but trash eaters. Yeah, I totally can, Minja. Positive punishment is putting an aversive on a dog, or putting something on the dog to inhibit behavior. Positive trainers tend to not use that one, which is why I kind of threw it out there. Because, you know, it's not part of the ideology. And as such, it doesn't quite fit with the positive training ideology, right? So yelling at the dog, applying pressure to the dog. Consequently, dog does something, I apply pressure on the dog. What are you doing? That kind of thing. Positional pressure, vocalization, compulsion or coercion, consequent compulsion or coercion, hitting the dog. I mean, a whole bunch of things could be. Anything that you apply to the dog in order to reduce the likelihood of that behavior in the future would be positive punishment. And hopefully that's a good answer. So with these 4 principles of positive training, these are standard positive training principles: criteria, markers, reward for position, or reward placement, rate of reinforcement. I think those are probably the 4 major pillars of positive dog training. We accomplish essentially every single thing we teach a dog with these 4 things, right? So how you do each one of these 4 things really frickin' matters, man, right? And how much you know about these things really matters. How much you've experimented with these things really matters. So let's start with setting criteria, okay? And this is going to kind of go all over the map kind of thing. Good luck. Good luck following what I'm throwing at you. But I do think it's a cool conversation, and I'd love to share it with you guys. So these things are training principles. They are training choke points, right? They're the places where our training falls apart, or the large categories, the category container that holds the thing that made our training session fall apart. They're also like metaphors and concepts that are very, very common in dog training. And depending on how much we've bought into the metaphor, they can be very restrictive, right? So payment, cookie, payment, reward, right? Reinforcer. A cookie can be a payment, it can be a reward, it can be a reinforcer, okay? If it's payment and the dog does a shitty version of the behavior, I can't pay that. If I pay that, that will guarantee shitty work in the future. It will cheat my dog out of good, honest work, and the dog will party on my dime, right? For shitty work. I'm not paying that. Reward. The dog does something, and it isn't that good, or the dog only did it because, right? Well, I'm not going to reward that because that would send the wrong message. If I reward that, that will happen in the future. The dog will think that that is a good thing, right? So I'm not going to reward that. It would send the wrong message, right? But cookie or payment reinforcer, as a reinforcer or as reinforcement, if the dog is not doing it, they need more cookies, right? What a big difference from that behavior is not good enough to pay, or I'm not going to reward that because it would send the wrong message, right? The reinforcement frame, the reinforcement metaphor says I'm not getting the behavior, it needs more cookies, right? And so the metaphor dominates how we understand everything. Check you later. We'll see you, Sal. Good to see you. Thanks for hanging out. My tea is done. I'm out of here. Super cool. So, how we envision these principles of dog training, very, very important. The metaphors that we kind of look at them through. So check it out, man. Here we have criteria, right? So we have criteria. And actually this should be setting criteria, but I think it hasn't changed. So let me try and change that. So, easy cheetah, we good now? Yeah, there we go. Okay. So criteria, setting criteria, super important. Everybody knows that. Everybody who's a dog trainer knows that. The criteria that we set, everything starts there. Everything is downstream of that. If we set a good criteria, everything's easy to achieve. If we set a poor criteria, everything will be difficult to achieve. Everything downstream of that will be difficult to achieve. So when it comes to setting criteria, there's more to it than just setting criteria. You know, I'm going to go out there and work on this, right? Okay, that's great. What criteria are you setting? And that's a legit question. I can't tell you how many times I've walked out there and not known what criteria I'm going to mark the first time. It's not a very good way to go into a training session, right? So you have to know what the criteria is that you're looking for, right? What you want or what the goal is not a criteria. Yup, you can join the club on that. So, Ninja, and I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. If it's Minya, you can give me guidance on that. That's super common, right? A lot of times that happens because our goal overwhelms us, or the performance requirements of our game overtake our logical sensibilities, and you say, I can't bring out 2 discs. We're doing toss and fetch. I can't have 2 discs on the field. This is toss and fetch, right? So we're gonna hit on that for sure, the sticking to it part. And I think the interesting thing about criteria is you can stick to it. You can change the criteria and still essentially stick to the criteria. How you do that and why you do that, I think, is the defining factor in that. So we have knowing what the criteria is. Ah, gotcha. Byron, right on, Byron. I gotcha. So we have knowing the criteria. What is it we're looking for? Bite criteria. The bite criteria is removal from the hand. Yes, right? That's knowing it. Yes. Having what I want as a criteria. I want the dog to bite it. Yes. Where's my cookie? Yes. Where's my cookie? Yes. Where's my cookie? If I mark when the dog bites it, if I mark what I want or what I think the criteria is, yes, the dog immediately spits it out and says, where's my cookie? Or give me another bite or throw it or do something like that, right? So what I want or what the goal is, not the criteria. Criteria for a bite is yes, removal from the hand. Now, yes, and if the dog misses it, they bite it again real hard. So knowing the criteria, super important. Setting the criteria, very important. My dog is this good at the skill. You can't set a criteria that's up here, right? And you can't set a criteria that's down here. You have to set something that's achievable, that's visible, right? So setting the appropriate criteria, setting a criteria that's going to help you achieve what you want, super important, right? I don't think it's looked at like as a separate function or as something that we should be really concerned about. I think most of the people who train other dog trainers are going to completely know what I'm talking about, right? And then I think those same people who train other dog trainers are going to agree with me and say, yeah, I should do a better job when I do that on myself than I do currently. We have knowing it, setting it. Those are things that are probably best done in planning, right? Before you take the field. So before you take the field, you should know what your criteria is, and you should have it set at an appropriate level before you take the field, planning stage, right? So up next we have changing the criteria. When do I change it? How do I change it? When do I raise it? When do I reduce it? Right? And that's done primarily in playing, but I think you should probably have an idea of what that looks like in terms of planning. Like experienced dog trainers have that built in because we've experienced it and we kind of know how things are going to go, and the variety of actions or the choices of actions we have are already known to us, so we can plan on the fly. Without experience, or with limited experience, you might want to take that on in planning. When you're playing, you got to figure out what to do. Do I change gears? Do I do something else? Do I raise the criteria? We've had a couple of successes. Do I raise it? We've had 2 failures in a row. Should I reduce the criteria? And if you get pushed around by the training session, you can lose track of or a hold of your criteria. But if you push the training session around, you can maintain control of your criteria, and you can move it around, maybe like untying a knot. You know what I mean? You can loosen it up and get it prepared to make the big change. So, it's the setting of criteria, or criteria in general, knowing it, setting it, changing, raising it, upping the ante, we're kicking ass, reducing it, we're not doing so well. Reducing it, let me drop the criteria for a few. Let's do something easy so we can get boom, pow, success. Yes, 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 yes. All right, now let's bump it up. Yes, 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 yes. Awesome, we're really kicking ass. Let's bump it up. Right? Knowing how to ride that ebb and flow of a dog training session, super important. And then knowing when to change it or when to kill the session, right? I think those are all really important things that deal with criteria. And how you do with criteria, with the setting of criteria, the changing, upping the ante, reducing the ante, and properly setting your expectations for the training session, super key. Everything flows from there. So you should probably give more thought to that And if you're a dog trainer, run yourself through your dog training lens. Give yourself the same benefits you give your clients. So, yeah, criteria is super important, man. Super, super important. So, marking for behavior. If anybody has any anything they want to drop in here, please stop me, because I'm not going to stop. Yeah, you could say that. You could say that, Byron. That would be what you're laying out there is kind of being a splitter, not a lumper. You take a behavior and you split it up. I do an anatomy of a behavior deal. Let me see if I can find it real quick. It's a pretty good piece, actually. It's exactly what you're talking about. It's in one of our meme rolls, too. Come on, you can do it. There you go. So let me, where are we at? We're in screen share. Let me get to some place where I can drop it where it's safe. Boom. Here we go. So check this out, Byron. This is kind of what you're talking about. And this is super important too.
Let's take a closer look at the retrieve. The retrieve, like everything else, starts with attention. Most people, when they think about the retrieve, they think about 3 skills. Go get it, bring it here, and give. Actually, most people tend to think about it as go get it, bring it here, and they have to be reminded of give. But those 3 skills essentially are 3 large behavior chains. And I'd like to go through this in order to show you guys what kind of small steps that we can take in order to shape and create behaviors. So we start with attention. The dog must be looking at the handler. Targeting. The dog has to target the object that will be retrieved. Approach. The dog needs to move towards the target. The dog arrives at the target and stops. The dog touches it with his nose, bites it, and picks it up. Then you can see we're starting into the bring it here aspect of the retrieve. So we have pick it up, hold, reorient to the handler, then turn and start to approach the handler and arrive at the handler. And now we're looking at the give. There's a sit or some kind of positional aspect to it. The dog needs to be in the correct position. Eye contact, the dog has to give attention to the handler in some way, shape, or form. The dog must present the object to the handler to be taken, and then the dog needs to release the object. That's a retrieve. And if we look at that, it's quite a bit different than go get it and bring it here. Now, this complexity is not really that important all the time. It becomes important when we have problems. And when we have problems, we need to be aware that go get it has 6, 7, shoot, we could probably break that down even further, 10, 12 behaviors if we needed to. Each of these behaviors or concepts, as we call them here at Positive Vibe, can be marked and reinforced in order to be made stronger.
Yeah, so it's exactly what you laid out there, Byron. Totally down on that, and that idea of understanding the behavior so that you can get those little pieces and isolate them as distinct criteria to both drive your progression and as like, I don't know, not breadcrumbs, stepping stones to the behavior, like shaping points, right? Like points that you have to hit. You select those really well and you have magic happening, right? Select the proper criteria like in a back chain, right? And everything that happens in front of it happens. That stuff is really pretty important. And yeah, I don't know how to really talk about it on my own without someone to riff with. So I'll just move on. So we have marking for behavior. Positive marker within positive dog training allows us to delay reinforcement, and it serves as a predictor of reinforcement, and also serves as like a bell that says you got the right answer, that you are correct. It's a "you are correct" bell, whether it's a clicker, whether it's a clicker. Hey, come on now. Yeah, a vocal marker, a finger point. That's a really awesome marker, or an ambient marker, something that happens within the environment or the situation naturally. So clicker, super awesome. I use it with high value toys. It's very good for precision behaviors. I don't use them very often. I don't use them nearly enough, actually. I probably should use them more often. Vocal, I use yes, and I use it all the time. I use it to mean that the dog is correct, more so than as a predictor of food. So after my marker, even after my clicked marker, if I'm using a clicker, sometimes the dog does not get a discrete reinforcer. Finger point, really awesome. So, and we'll have to do it with you. I don't want to interrupt what's going on here. It's nice and quiet. If I get what I'm looking for, I mark with a finger point and pay you, right? So I mark with a finger point, yes, is what that says. And if I always boom and then dive in my cookie bag and do the cookie thing, pretty soon this becomes a positive marker. And a finger point is a terrific marker for a multiple dog household, because I can take, let me see here, I can take Epi here. Oh, come on, is it not going to let me do that? No, you're not going to be able to see me. I can mark Epi here and no other dogs see, right? The other thing that's really cool about it is that in order for the dog to take the marker, they must be looking at me. So eye contact is baked in there. And that would be one of those situations where setting an appropriate criteria or putting criteria into your thinking about what you want to work, pretty awesome. If you have trouble with eye contact and you're working on something, right? Well, why not mark with a finger point? That might be helpful, right? Oh, wait, vocal. Oh, that's why, got it. Why not mark with a finger point, right? Get two things accomplished in one session. Enhance or reinforce the likelihood of your goal without having your goal dominate your tactics and strategy session for it. Hopefully that makes sense. Ambient marker, I think, is one of the cooler things about dog training. We tend to get owned by them a lot. An ambient marker is a marker that we're not aware of. Usually winds up becoming a trigger stimulus for something too. But there are lots of ambient markers. Handler's startle response, reactive dog handler. They're out and about. Out of nowhere, handler tenses up a little bit and puts her hand in the cookie bag. That's an ambient marker that says something crazy is coming. 100%, I know that as the dog. I just know that. And we have unintentional ambient markers, right? We have unknown ambient markers. I have some intentional ambient markers that I know about and I kind of utilize, right? Cookie bag would be one, right? Cookie bag, knowing when to put crowd response. Yeah, for sure, absolutely. The number of dogs who do some crazy physical technique to make a catch, tipping, dogs that tip a lot. I knew a dog that did a dive roll on every catch that was at all dive rollable. 6 out of 7 catches in throw and go or toss and fetch was a dive roll where the dog would slide on his shoulder for no fucking reason. Would short himself. Would purposefully not chase the disc so he'd be far enough away so he could perform that move. And if I had to guess, it came from a crowd response. That's a good one, Byron. That's a really good one. But yeah, ambient marker crowd response would be perfect for that. So those are markers, and they're also tools that can be used to mark behavior, right? And to mark for behavior, right? So this isn't just marking the behavior we want, but marking in order to get behaviors, to increase behavior, to reduce behavior, to prohibit some behaviors, to set an energy level of the thing. So, okay, reactive dog stuff. Anytime I have a reactive dog, I set multiple criteria up. All right, and so now we're gonna talk about criteria, mark for behavior. Oh, geez. Yeah, I'm gonna do this, and then I'm gonna go through the high, flat, and low, and you'll have to apply it. So we have setting of criteria for reactive dogs. I have release of the environment, release of the trigger stimulus, attention, look at that, lying down, I could probably add sniffing the ground. I might throw that in there as a criteria. Yeah, that'll work, right? So those would be criteria I have for reactive dogs. Now, I'm going to use my markers in order to draw attention to the moments where those criteria are hit, any of those criteria. By selecting 4 or 5 of them, I have 4 or 5 pieces of criteria that I can choose, right? So I now have 5 things that I'm looking for. Any of those 5 things, and I can on my terms, I can mark and reinforce them. So now I have 5 times the likelihood of finding a target behavior with a reactive dog. That's pretty awesome, right? At any time, I could step towards the dog or step in the dog's blind spot and most likely get the dog to look at me, right? So I can facilitate those things, right? But what I'm doing is I'm setting criteria, a bunch of them, enough of them, so that I can mark enough behaviors to create an energetic, interactive exercise with dog and handler, right? So what criteria I choose and the marking of behaviors and why the behaviors are marked and what I'm marking, all important. Okay, so, and stop me at any time, guys. And Byron, please feel free to riff on in whenever. I'm just going to keep on going here and puke all this shit out. So we have, those are the tools that we use to get at our criteria. The tone of our marker can be high. Yes! Oh my gosh, that's amazing! Yes! Whoa! Yes! Great job, right? It can be flat. Yes. Yes, that's amazing. Through. Yes. Great job. Twist. Yes. Great job. Nice and flat, right? Just the facts, right? It can be low. Yes. Through. Yes. Twist. Yes. Wow, that was amazing. Yes. Right? So we can have a low tone. That tone needs to match what we're doing. Needs to match the target behavior or the end goal of what we're working, right? Or, and this is a big or it needs to match the intensity level of the game required to get us to that level. People make this mistake all the time. They set up too high a criteria. They select the criteria that's the most important at the time, and then they wind up with fucking 5 cookies per minute because the dog isn't doing anything, right? And yeah, there you go, right? What we can do is we can set multiple criteria, and we can mark so that we create an energy level, or mark so that we create success that we can then launch our big challenge from, right? Marking is not just about getting the behavior. It's about motivation. It's about information, right? The tone, high, flat, or low, it definitely influences that, right? Initially, when we're teaching a pedestal, we'll get into that rate of reinforcement. We won't do that. But and actually, you know what? I'll go ahead and show you. I will show you. So here we are, mark for behavior, right? Any minute now. So the marking for behavior affects and regulates the cookies per minute, right? And so when we have learning and adding value, that's a high energy exercise, right? So we want 15 to 30 cookies per minute. Bang, 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 bang. It needs to be super awesome, super amazing. And then we get to duration. That's a low energy activity. We don't want, yes, and throwing cookies around and shit. That's a proofing exercise for duration. When we're learning duration, yes, cookie, 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 off, cookie. Wow, that was amazing. Look at you. You are terrific, right? Nice and low. Reactive dogs or distraction, rate of reinforcement. The initial stages, like shoveling it at the dog, like, you know, don't fucking freak out, dude. Just chill. It'll be okay, right? We'll get through this. Eat this. Peanut butter spoon kind of thing, right? That's shoveling. That should be high energy. 20 cookies per minute, let's say. 12 cookies per minute. 3 cookies per minute. 1 cookie per minute, as needed. These ones down here. Once we get the shoveling and we got the dog to 20 cookies per minute, and we can get 3 to 5 seconds without like ape shit, then we want to make sure that the energy level flatlines. And this gets sedate, easygoing, right? And so the tone of your marker should match that, right? So here, let's go back to mark for behavior. It's not the exact same one. It's not the exact same one, but let me grab it for you. I just remade this one, so the original is here on, I don't know if you can see this part of my screen or if it's still on. No, it's still on the mind map. So I have the link. I'm dropping it in here. Yeah, yeah, totally, Byron. Yep. Not surprised. Not surprised. Yeah, terriers are interesting. You can keep them. I've had one. Too much dog for me. Not afraid to admit that. All right. So the tone, high, flat, or low, as Byron just mentioned, that high energy level can be a bit much, right? You need to structure the tone of your marker and how you're responding. Yes, boom. Yes, boom. That's high energy. Yes, boom. Yes, get it. Whoa, that's awesome. Yes, bite. Wow, that's amazing. Versus, yes, bite. That would be flat. Yes, bite. That would be low. And you actually do need low for some dogs, right? Byron will tell you, judging by that last comment. So yeah, tone is important. Mark for behavior. So the trick. There's a bunch of places I can go with this, like just a bunch, and all of this I could get in weird discussions forever on it, because there's just so many. Because we only have 4 things: criteria, positive marker, reward placement, rate of reinforcement. All of these things have so many attributes, right? They just have so many attributes. So marking for behavior, we have trick. And what I'm getting at here is to use the trick, the cue for the trick, as the marker, right? By using the cue for the trick as a marker, we can accomplish many things. We can add shine to the behavior quickly by putting it in the cookie slot, or putting it in the cookie prediction slot, putting it in that marker slot. We can get right to the point of doing the trick without risking a bad weight or delivery of a cookie. And then the scalloping that happens when, I've got my cookie, okay, I'm going to go take off and come back and extort another cookie from you. So weight, the next trick, and the positive marker are all things that we can mark with, and they can be attached. The weight can be attached to the trick. It can be given as a cookie, actually, and it can be given in and of itself, like as a trick. The next trick, through, yes. Twist, yes. Through, yes. Bite, right? It's got this nice stable thing between each, right? The dog's getting informed. The marker, what I want to get at is the difference between that, through yes, bite, or through yes, twist, yes, bite, that kind of idea, versus through, twist, bite, right? Through, twist, bite. Through, twist, bite, right? Where each of those cues is given like in the marker slot, right? So we can mark with the next trick. This is really awesome on a pedestal. We've been kicking this around for a while in class. When you mark the dog jumping on the pedestal with yes, and then ask the dog to wait or pay the dog is extremely forward looking, future focused. Ooh, wow, I want it. It's coming. But if we mark with the weight cue on the pedestal as soon as the front feet hit, the dog settles immediately and seems to be very oriented very present in the moment and oriented now, not so future focused, not so leaning forward wanting that thing. Could just be the mark or the lack of jazz from a positive marker. But I think it's something more than that. There's a focus on the now that happens when you mark with a trick or a cue versus mark with the marker. And so I just kind of wanted to throw that in there. I think it's pretty important. We're going to select tricks that will enable us to mark. We're not just going to select the trick that we're trying to get, right? Going back to that criteria selection and also kind of putting a little spin on this idea of marking for behavior. There are a bunch of behaviors that are going to go into our behavior. A bunch of little micro behaviors that all put together complete that behavior. So the trick might be something much smaller. It might be something that I use to throw the cookie where I want the trick to happen, right? So using tricks as excuses for markers, pretty cool. Using that smartly in order to get to your goal, really cool. So timing, this is going to be blasphemous, but it's true. Early for action, late for duration, better never than late. So when we're marking at the exact moment it happens, right? But there's some fudge room in there. We can interrupt behaviors by marking early. So a dog who's going to bite the toy you want them to target, you can just mark it a hair early, and they'll get the action of marking, and it'll interrupt the action of the biting. You can also get... good question. I'll take that. So early for action. If the dog is targeting and I get it right before it happens, yes. I'm really highlighting the action of going towards it, maybe not touching it, but the movement, right? That is what I'm getting. It's not the touch, right? It's the action, right? I don't want to stay there. I don't want to mark early because my dogs are going to realize that it's not actually the time. But as a tool to like grease the skids, marking a hair early, super powerful, man. We can interrupt actions, and we can isolate the precursor things to actions or the pieces before it. On the flip side of that, if we mark our touch late, our hand target late, yes, we've got built-in duration, right? Cheater move, yep, totally, super useful. Combined with energy level, early for action and late for duration can very quickly change the tone and the tone of a session and the energy level and expression level of the behavior. And then mark for behavior as an excuse, right? As an excuse, as a distraction, right? I'm sorry. The mark for behavior as an excuse can be a marker as a distraction, a marker as an interrupter, a marker for maintaining flow, right? So selecting multiple criteria, again, sets us up to be able to mark behaviors that we need to maintain flow, or to mark a behavior that we need to interrupt our dog from fucking aggressing on that dog over there that's walking up. Oh, yep, there's a dog coming. Holy shit, I'm gonna slide in a little close to him. He's gonna look at me. Yes, that's awesome. I made that whole thing happen. I moved towards him just so I could mark the behavior, so I could pay him over here so he didn't freak out on that dog over there. As an excuse, as an interrupter. As a distraction. We're hanging out. I see a dog walking up. I notice my dog gives me eye contact. Yes, that's amazing. I real slow roll it into my cookie bag. Dog's rapt attention. Oh, doing it slowly. Must be okay. I'm waiting, right? He gets paid. I wait a moment. He gives eye contact. I slow roll it in there. Now we're looking at 20 seconds later. What dog? There's no dog here anymore, right? So marking for behavior as an excuse to perpetuate the intensity or energy level of your game, to distract the dog, or as an interrupter of undesired behavior. So again, we're looking at criteria and marking for behavior, right? So how's everybody doing? You guys following this? Is it interesting? Is it okay? Nah, fuck it, I don't care if it's not interesting. Sorry, I'm interested by it. That's key. So actually, I don't teach weight separately in isolation before integrating it. I don't proof it before integrating it. Epi has a pretty bad weight. It's not very good. It's one of the poorer dogs that I've had's weight. Poor weights from a dog that I've had. So I use the situations of play to create the weight, right? And by the way, Epi doesn't wait because he's totally fucking epic and spoiled. And he wound up right on a distance call on a vault real early in his vaulting career. And so I kind of let him get away with it because maybe he knows something I don't. Maybe he'll teach me something else. So I use attention for bite, attention for next. And what happens is the dog offers eye contact as a default behavior. So I get lots of weight by simply doing nothing, right? The other thing that I do is I use the weight in a bunch of training situations. Jump up on the pedestal, up, wait. Dog catch. Yes, that's a duration behavior. I tell him off. I then let him off. He lands on there. I tell him to wait. Right? And if he jumps off, I don't really care because nothing's going to happen until he's back up there waiting. So I don't really care. And rather quickly throughout waiting for a flip, waiting for a bite, waiting for a vault, waiting on a pedestal, right? The dog pretty quickly learns to wait. So I actually teach it through that. I don't know whether I do a very good job of teaching a weight on its own. A framework, one of the earlier sessions on frameworks, you need a framework to teach something. Might as well get what you're looking for within your framework. Yeah. I would question whether or not it actually is a scary dog. I don't think a lot of reactive dogs are scared of that dog per se. Anxious, anxiety, sure, but scared, not the right word, I don't think. Let me see. That's got to have a place within this discussion. Let me see if I can do something with that. So rewarding for position, rate of reinforcement, criteria, mark for behavior. I can cover all of these in this. So dog tears up your fingers. Why not throw it on the ground? Why not throw several on the ground? You throw several on the ground, dog noses the ground, sniffs the ground, dog gets calming signal. You can then mark and reinforce the dog stopping the sniffing of the ground and pay to the mouth at a time when that crazy town anxiety is reduced, that trigger thing. And here's how it works out. Rewarding for position. I'm going to throw it on the ground. I'm putting my dog's face on the ground, ensuring my dog doesn't look at the other dog anymore. Rate of reinforcement. I'm going to use an inefficient location of reinforcement in order to keep my dog busy and to reduce the amount of, I'm gonna say dopamine. I'm gonna reduce the amount of neurochemical stoke for like getting shit right and whatnot. I'm just gonna puke out a bunch of like classical conditioned goodness with these decent criteria, right? Of ceasing to sniff and looking at me, right? But that inefficient reward placement, marking for behavior. I'm going to use the cessation of sniffing, which I caused, to create another piece of reinforcement that maybe isn't so heavily charged as the release of the dog. And then setting of criteria, right? I'm going to add this criteria of looking up at me, right? Hopefully that makes sense. You could, but my guess is it's not the distance at this time. My guess is it's the fact that you're giving a cookie in a canine has appeared situation at this point in time. Right? Make sure that your marker's sedate. Yes. Pay the dog. Move slowly. Hang on, let me... Yes. Reach in your cookie bag. Pay the dog. Right? A lot of times reactive handlers are like this, which is really distracting. You know, it's nerve-wracking. All of a sudden your handler jumps into action and does the thing. Right? Dog looks at the thing, is pegged on the dog. Dog looks away. Yes, that's great. I reach in my treat bag. I give the dog a cookie. Or in your case, I reach in the treat bag. I grab 3 cookies. I drop them on the ground. I let the dog sniff the ground. The dog stops sniffing the ground. The dog looks up. I say, yes, awesome. Go to dog stuff. And the dog looks at the dog. Looks off the dog. I mark yes. I reach in my treat bag. Throw it on the ground, and we go from there. And then once the dog is all sedate on that trigger, then I would mark and try and pay the dog to the mouth, and I should have reduced Crazy Town. But I think all of that is completely encapsulated within this mind map here. So let's jump into rate of reinforcement here. Yeah, I think so. Maybe it isn't with you. I'm not saying that it has to be Ink of the Dragon, but historically, in my experience, lots of reactivity is reinforced and perpetuated through the reactivity protocol itself. I'm not saying that it's a failure, or it didn't work, or you're doing it wrong. What I'm saying is, without these 4 principles applied well, what's going to happen is that your protocol is, your protocol is a predictor, stimulus, marker, target behavior all at once. It's what happens, right? It's what happens. And when every time I see a strange dog and look away, you mark it and pay me, and I eat the skin off your hand, that's what happens, right? First thing we have to do, and the thing that starts it all off, Ink of the Dragon, is the appearance of that dog, right? And so what we have to do is we have to use these principles to get rid of that connection, to make a better connection, right? Dog appears, some food happens on the ground, you do some eye contact on me, you never tear flesh off me, I'm super lame and easygoing, and then we leave, right? If that's how it always goes down, then we have a tremendous reduction in classically conditioned physiological level, and the likelihood of tearing flesh off our hand when we are given cookies is reduced. So much of dog training is just what's happening, guys. So rate of reinforcement, key concept here. Engagement starts with dismissal. You cannot have control over an on switch, right? You can't have control over turning something on if you can't turn it off. The end, right? So if you have no off switch, you have an engagement problem, right? And it might be too much, which is fine. I can deal with that. Most people can deal with that. But it is an engagement problem. Dismissal also is a good way to motivate dogs that are lower on the drive scale or lower in, let's just say, engagement. And it does that by setting a null state. Handlers off limits. It doesn't mean you have to leave. It doesn't mean, just means I'm off limits. It doesn't even really mean you have to leave me alone. Of course, the dog should learn that, right? But I'm not going to make him leave me alone. That's his job. It just means I'm off limits. So dismissal, go do dog stuff, handlers off limits. It's a null state of reinforcement and opportunity, which most operant dogs never have. A shit ton of foundational and reactivity problems and engagement problems come from no null state. Operant dogs know they make shit happen, and they know that they are empowered to affect their consequence. And when they cannot affect their consequence, they freak out. They don't like it. So having an experience in a null state, super, super important for both the high drive dog to be okay, not having opportunity, and for the low drive dog to know what boring really is. Off switch, it is the off switch. The dog should be able to turn on and off. That's an important piece of it. It means the handler's off limits and that there's no opportunity. In terms of energy levels, this is a 0 energy level thing. I'm off limits. You can do anything you want. You'd have to bite a child or run in the street to get my attention. Check you later. And then we shape and capture engagement from there with soft work. And it's beyond the scope of this thing, but whatever. So we have a dismissal rate of reinforcement, which is flat, nothing, null state. Very important. We have a rate of reinforcement for learning. 15 to 30 cookies per minute. It's consequent, it's consistent, and it's creative. And if it's consequent, consistent, and creative at 15 to 30 cookies per minute, you are going to have a badass session with your dog. Your dog is going to be successful, and your dog is going to learn what you're trying to teach them, right? So Rate of reinforcement, high energy level for learning, 15 to 30 cookies per minute. It's consequent, meaning the behavior makes the cookie happen. It's consistent in terms of level set criteria. I can bank on it. We're not all over the place in terms of criteria. We're not willy-nilly throwing cookies around, right? We're being consistent. And it's creative. You're willing to change gears and get ready to do something else, reduce criteria, change criteria, move on to a different thing. We want to get on, get hot, get off when it comes to learning. Real quick, boom, boom, boom. And then leave the dog wanting more. You want to quit while you're on high. So we have the learning stage, right? The learning stage of things. And then we have the adding value stage, another high energy stage of dog training. The rate of reinforcement principle is going to be utilized at 15 to 30 cookies per minute. A constant churn of cookies and success. You want to dismiss early and often. I want to get the dog really successful, so he's kicking ass like 5 reps. Wow, we are smashing it and eating cookies like crazy. Wow, go do dog stuff. No, Ron, I want to keep doing this. Why? We were just getting going. I want to keep doing this. He walks off. A couple minutes later, he gives me eye contact. Yes. I offer him a cookie on the pedestal. We go right back to work. Boom, pow, boom, pow. Constant, 15 to 30 cookies per minute. And then I dismiss, right? And that'll add value. I create desire, and the dog will want to do it, right? We want to use high energy, high rate of reinforcement to add value. When we move on to duration, so, hey, France. Pretty awesome. If you go to chat.restreamio.io/FB, ooh, I wonder if it is right there. Is it? Could that? Nope. You can get your name in and avatar in the chat here. I was going to say bonsoir, but it's not bonsoir anymore. Okay, so duration. This is a stage of duration training, like a stay behavior, where we're just adding value, right? Just to make them really want to do it, right? In that adding value stage over here, right, is high rate of reinforcement, high energy. Then we shift when we get into duration, and we move to a low energy thing, because we don't want movement and action. Duration is an absence of behavior. You're not paying the dog to stay there. You're paying the dog while they are not moving, right? So it's an absence of behavior, and it's not a criteria that you can hit. So that's a super important piece of duration, right? And so initially for duration, I'll pay constantly. Dog gets on the pedestal. Yes, I'll reach in the cookie bag, I'll pay the dog. And then I'll just pay the dog. No more markers. But it's coming constantly. Do you see how slow it's moving? Right? Off. Great job. Up. Yes. Then it begins again. And you can feel that energy level and this constant rate of reinforcement that's guaranteed to keep him there. And then I'll reduce that constant rate to 20, to 12, to 6, 3, and then as needed. But it's a low energy exercise. It's a low energy exercise all the way around. I'm going to get real sedate and easy. Nothing's going to happen except you're going to lay there and eat cookies, and it's going to be great. right? And if I ask my dog on the pedestal, yes, great job, and I reach in my cookie bag and I give them a treat, right? Well, that's what they're ready to do. They're ready to do something. Yes, reach in your cookie bag, pull it out. All of your exciting stuff should have been done during the learning and adding value stage. All right, next we move on to distraction. So we have a reactive dog. We have a dog who goes apeshit at dogs. The high energy portion. Yes, great job. Oh my gosh, right? Yes, reach in your cookie bag, pull out your thing. That should be reserved for an emergency or for the beginning when we're shoveling, right? Maybe it's classical. Maybe the dog appears and I just start shoveling food at the dog. You know, eat, and that happens fast. I don't give a shit. Just fucking eat that shit. Eat it. I don't care what my hands look like. I don't care what. Once they eat enough of it, their energy level will flatline, right? Then we can go to 20 cookies per minute and keep it moving, right? And then once we get past that 20 cookies per minute, so once your dog is somewhat stable, it goes into that low energy rate of reinforcement. We can still have a high rate of reinforcement. 20 cookies per minute. Yes. 1002, 1003. Yes. 1002, 1003. Yes. 1001, 1002. Go do dog stuff, right? We're right at that 20 cookie per minute range right there. And it's sedate and easy. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Incompatible energy level on your marker with reactivity stuff is like super common, man. Incompatible marker tone with duration behaviors. Yes! Oh my gosh! Teaching a down stay. Dog lies down. Yes! You pay the dog. Or the dog lies down and you say, good! And then, you know, you run over and pay the dog. And you run back and you run over and pay the dog. It's a proofing exercise of whether or not the dog can hang out and stay down while you're running around like crazy. You should structure your communication method to the task at hand, right? And that energy level and that tone is very important. Yep, I think that'll be good. So, rate of reinforcement as a distraction, right? You can pump the dog full of cookies and nothing will have happened. And that's great. Rate of reinforcement as duration. You can pump the dog full of cookies with a constant stream of cookies and he won't get off the pedestal. Right? Byron, your dog that, you know, loses his mind. That kind of thinking, well, he can't get off the pedestal if I just keep paying him up there, is a really, really powerful way to get ahead of that shit. Rate of reinforcement is adding value. A high rate of reinforcement adds more value. A low rate of reinforcement does not add value, right? Learning. A high rate of reinforcement, lots of success, lots of things learned. Low rate of reinforcement, not a lot of success, not a lot of things learned. Yeah. Yep. Calm in general. That's the one place where Cesar Milan completely friggin' on point, dude. Calm, assertive handler. Tremendous asset. Tremendous asset. And of course, Ink of the Dragon, you have to know when to jump into action and reach in there and pull that cookie out real quick, right? There are times for that. You know, this question and you pinning me down to an exact answer is kind of a problem. There is no exact answer. Calm marking around another dog to reduce the chance of reactivity? Absolutely, until it's too close. Absolutely, until, I don't know, But there's no answer. There's no single answer. And any answer that you get that's a single answer is not going to be flexible enough to handle all the situations you come in contact with. Just kind of the way it is. All right, last one. Reward for position. All right. So, rewarding for position, reward placement, does a shit ton of things. Yeah, every answer is completely situational. I will lay this out. So, you need to adjust your carburetor, right? You get on YouTube and you look up carburetor adjustment and you do what it says, right? Your carburetor is now adjusted. What is it adjusted for? Did you look? Is it adjusted for maximum fuel economy? Is it adjusted for maximum power? Is it adjusted for maximum emission controls? Is it adjusted for maximum longevity of your engine? Is it adjusted to the octane level of the fuel you use? We can keep going, right? You can adjust a carburetor for many, many reasons. And the number of turns and the size of the jet and the number of times you turn the screw and all that shit. Yeah, for sea level or 5,000 feet, absolutely, yep. And so while it might be awesome to get an answer about how to adjust your carburetor, you need to have the carburetor adjustment for the right purpose. And then it's the right model, right? Oh no, I'm sorry, you got the instructions for the Jaguar and your dog's a Toyota. Right? You just fucked up your carburetor. Right? You have to know those things, and we get really spoiled thinking that we know things because we can find the answer. The answer is not the knowledge, guys. The answer is not the knowledge. The answer isn't even important most of the time. It's the knowledge that gives you the answer that's important. That's the stuff you need to remember. All right, so rewarding for position. We have movement, right? Where we put the cookie makes the dog move. The dog puts his face where the cookie happens. I need to put that in there right here. Hang on. Insert above. Topic before. Oh, shit. No. Well. Dog puts his face. Oh, come on, Ron. All right, dog puts face where cookie happens. We have high for sit. If you hold the cookie high, the dog sits because he has to put his head up and look at the cookie. If you put the cookie like in front of the dog's face at like a medium height, the dog will stand and move forward. If you put it low between the dog's elbows or feet, they will lie down if it's in front of them, or they will stretch if it's around their feet or behind them. If you put the cookie up and under their chin, that's the back up button. They'll back up. Where I put the cookie moves the dog. The cookie is not just a edible cookie. The cookie's a disc. The cookie is access to the environment. When you let your dog out of the back door, if the backyard is super exciting and the cookie's out there, good luck getting your dog to not bust through the door, right? The dog goes where the cookie happens, where the thing that's awesome happens. Dog puts her face where the cookie happens. Where we put the cookie sets up the approach for the next trick. The dog goes there, so that's where I'm going to be working from. Got to be aware of that stuff. Rewarding for position moves the dog. Where we put it, behind the dog, makes the dog work further back or gravitate to that position, give you space, right? Placing it in front of the dog makes the dog move forward. I know it sounds dumb. Paying at you, paying from your hand, brings the dog to you, right? Your historical reward placement creates the desired location. So if I always pay while I'm cooking in that corner of the room, my dog, I can almost be assured that my dog will lie in that corner of the room while I'm cooking, because that's where the cookie happens. So wherever we habitually pay, that's where the dog is going to be. Where we habitually place the cookie, that is where the dog will be. All right, and then we have rewarding for position as a behavioral shortcut. And this is it. We're done with this piece here, and then we'll watch a couple videos and take off. So rewarding for position as a behavioral shortcut. We can facilitate the sit behavior by rewarding for position. If I mark eye contact and I put the cookie above the dog's head, slightly above like the center of their head, they will sit. So where I paid, the dog facilitated the sit behavior, a behavioral shortcut. If I want the dog to down, I take eye contact, I mark it, yes, I pay in front of the feet, I wait there. When the dog lies down, I open my hands. I can mark again and open my hands, that would work too. I can do the same with pretty by putting it between the dog's feet or slightly under the dog's chest. Mark for action, reward for position. I can pay any static stand or holding of position in order to facilitate a wait. I can behaviorally shortcut the wait behavior and make it happen simply by paying the dog there. It's pretty crazy, right? I can facilitate up, which is to get on a pedestal, right? The perch behavior, some people call it. I can do that. Eye contact, yes. Oh, hang on, let me do this. Whoops. Oh, wow, that's interesting. That's cool. Didn't know that. I can facilitate the pedestal. You see the pedestal right here, I think, maybe. So Epi gives me eye contact. Yes! I pay right here. And Epi is sleeping and doesn't want to do it. I'm so sad, Epi. I can mark any behavior that is markable, and then I can just pay the cookie above the pedestal and facilitate the pedestal behavior by simply using reward placement, rewarding for position. All right, and then we have spot, same thing as pedestal, and threshold. So getting into or out of the crate. Dog comes out of the crate, yes, I pay the dog, right? I pay the dog on me. I want the dog in the kennel, right? I take eye contact, yes, I throw the cookie in the kennel. I don't have to tell the dog to load up. Dog learns that eye contact makes a cookie happen in the kennel. Cookies happen in the kennel. Kennel's great. My entry into the kennel is going to be much better. The other thing with the behavioral shortcut on the threshold, we have that dog that charges out the back door because the back of the yard is more exciting. If we mark check this out, dude. So we got the dog at the pedestal. Let's go back here. That's great. That's perfect. We got the dog at the threshold, at the door, right? I'm going to set the criteria. I'm going to have an eye contact criteria. I'm going to have a backing off from bolting, like a good decision, like I'm going to go. No, I'm not. I'm going to back off. That's a criteria. backing up is a criteria, and crossing the threshold on cue is a criteria. Those would be my 4 criteria at the door. I walk to the door. I wait. Dog gives eye contact. I mark, I pay to the mouth, right? Dog gives eye contact, I mark, I touch the door handle. Dog gives eye contact, I pay the dog. Dog gives eye contact, I mark, I open up the door. Dog gives eye contact, I mark, I pay. Dog gives eye contact, I tell him in and in. I reinforce with next. I mark the eye contact behavior and I reinforce with the trick, the next trick, right? Or I mark this trick and reinforce with the next cue. Dog crosses the threshold. We're back to criteria. I mark yes as an interrupter to stop him from running out to the back of the house. He turns towards me. I mark yes. I pay the dog. I back up. I pay the dog. I back up. I pay the dog. I wait. Dog gives eye contact. I pay the dog. Do that 3 or 4 times. I get eye contact. Yes, I tell the dog in and in. He now comes back in the threshold. I pay him inside. And now, by skillfully using these ideas that we just laid out here, everything about the door is now just about the door and the threshold. All good things happen on the threshold. That awesome shit out in the backyard is not super exciting, right? So hopefully that makes sense. That's what I got. That's what I got. That's my dissertation. Yep. That's exactly it. Yep. There is no answer. It's part of the Tao of DiscDog. There is no answer to your problem. I would rather have 1,000,000 good questions. I would rather have 100 good questions than 1,000,000 bad answers, or 1,000,000 okay answers, right? Answers are where we stop learning. Ba-doom. All right. So, yeah, that's it. That's what I got on that. I'd like to do it again. I'd like to do it with a few more people involved, and I'll get another shot. We'll do her. So, yep, 4 principles, positive dog training. Good stuff, Maynard. Let us, where am I at? I'm in screen sharing. I can leave this screen share on. Let me turn it on to Safari. Boom, boom, events, 4 principles of positive dog training. Oh, here, let me run through this real quick because the article is a pretty good article, actually. Should have went through that. Probably would have saved me some thinking. Yeah, you guys read that. It's a good piece. I won't rehash it. But yep, it's covered in there pretty seriously. All right, let's move on. I'll run a couple of these videos and we'll get out of here. I spent a long time on that. I knew it was going to be a long one. All right, so here we go. We have a pretty special around the world here. Check it out. Is that not playing the next video? It's not, is it? If you guys can hear me, I will be right in. I'm taking care of dogs out here. Yep, just ignore the dead air. Give me a couple seconds. Sorry, guys. Oh, no. Oh, okay. Good. I thought I killed the live stream. All right, here we go. Sorry about that. Pretty nasty sequence here. Blind magic sidearm. A blind jazz throw. Lefty air bounce. And a push throw. Nasty. Nasty, nasty stuff. Oh, I'm sorry, guys.
Susan and Arlie, Andrea and Cricket, Marie and Haven.
Happy.
All right, that was
Workflow is
19
not
points for Chesney and Encore. Chesney's going to give some throwing lessons after the games today.
Come on, Epi. Yeah. You ready? You ready, handsome? Let's do it. Are you ready? Up, in and in. Pan, C. Mang, king. Get back. Wait. Come on, old
Ready?
ladies.
Set.
Rebound.
Go.
Good. Catch. 2. 2. Back. Epi, come on, handsome! Come on, Superman! Come on, big man, let's go!
45
go,
seconds.
Hustle! Yes, good man! Great work!
Time warp complete.
Great work, Superman! Pan. Whoa! That guy.
30 seconds.
That was fast, Epi.
All right, that's the way you do it. That gives Ron and Epic a score of 83.
Woo! Go, Epi! That was great work. Epi smashed
15
it.
seconds.
That was awesome, Epi. No, Ron. It was epic. Funny. All these are supposed to play through, and I didn't set them up properly. I
Ready?
think Lily just took
Set.
third place in the Triple Crown.
Snowman.
Young player out of Florida.
Blue. Sweet spot. Red.
45 seconds.
Get it!
Harry.
Yeah, time warp is super cool.
30 seconds.
Blue. Sweet spot.
Nice.
15 seconds.
58's a good score.
10.
Red and Harry.
The game really
four,
changes,
3,
Byron, when
2,
you can
1. Time.
when you can get a Terminator with a miss. Soon as that happens, it's really awesome because you are fearless with taking chances. Right now, you're like, oh, I don't know, man. I could screw up and not make my thing, you know. But with soon as you're able to get a good score, 70, 75 points with a miss, then you get to really push it and chance it, and it gets really cool. All right, here we go. We have oppositional feeding with Epi, really important skill. Epi. Come over here. Awesome. Hey everybody, how's it going? Ron Watson, Positive Vibe, host of Disc Dogger Weekly. I got Epi out here, gonna do some jakey and fakey stuff. I'm gonna warm up with some oppositional feeding. Check it out. You ready? Let's do it. Ready? Here we go. Talk about the timing. Get out. Yes. My other earbud just went out. Like catch. Literally. When now one of the things, see him turn in the direction he's going. Ouse. Yes. I want to fix that. I want to throw against ouse his grain there. So do you see how sharp that turnaround is? Ouse, catch. See how sharp that is? That's important when it comes to oppositional feeding. So ouse, if I throw that way, he's got that nice arcing turn. That's not what I want to do. I want to actually counter his movement. All right, so we're gonna work on opposition. So take a look at his speed. Take a look at his speed coming on the first ones. Okay. And then I'm gonna bump forward like 20 seconds. Yes. Watch how fast he's coming in. Watch. Catch. Now one of the things, see him turn in the direction he's going. Ouse. Yes. I want to fix that. And now watch this one. Turn. That's not what I want to do. I want to actually, when it comes to oppositional feeding. So ouse. If I throw that way, he's got that nice arcing turn. You can see him real rock back, head up high. He's kind of trotting in. Counter his movement. Right. All right. So we're going to work on oppositional feeding with King. Mackay, catch. I'll throw him out here. Ouse. Yes, and I'm going to throw it against his motion. Oh, look at you, King. Ouse. And I'll throw it against his motion. You can see that real sharp turning around. What I don't want to do, ouse, is throw it that way. You see how that's a wide arcing movement? Oh, what happened? Ouse. I want to directly counter his movement. Yes, good man. Ouse. You don't want him just to come in and run around and turn around and like run a circle. I want him actually to reverse. So what we're trying to do here is use reward placement to antagonize or to punish over pursuit or over aggressive approaches to the handler. Or we could say that we're using reward placement to reinforce staying out there or to reinforce slower movement, right? And so what happens is the dog's over aggressive approach becomes a pain in his ass, and then it ceases to be a good way to play the game. And you're going to see here with King that he slows down quite a bit. Good. Ouse. What's up with this? Why is this in here? Jakey spin. Yes, good. Ouse. Wait, what are you doing, Ron? Jakey twist. Oh, that was good. My bad. That was a terrible throw. Ready? Wait. Jakey spin. Yes. Oh. Yes. Yeah. So that Jakey spin is not his preferred direction. I don't know why that's in there though. That's kind of weird. The other day when I was doing this, my feet were all funky. Ouse. Want to make sure that I'm pushing this way with my body on the Jakey twist. Jakey twist. Yes, good. And then I'm pushing this way. Jakey spin. Oh, ouse. Wait. Jakey spin. That other side. Yes, on that one. Good work. Ouse. Helly in. Yes. Ouse. Helly out. Yeah, funny. Yes, good. Ouse. Helly in. Sorry, I thought there was more oppositional feeding on this. Helly out. Yes. It's a good skill. It's an important skill. Squib. Good. Helly in. Yes, good work. I like those moving flips quite a bit too. Good. Helly in. Yes. Ouse. Helly out. Yes, good. Ouse. Wait right there. Helly in. Good man. Yeah. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys Helly in. So you can see that he's moving clockwise, right? He's moving from my left to my right. and he's going to flip in the same direction. So you can see that he's flipping clockwise here. So if he flips in the same direction, that's heli in. So now we're still going clock. This time he's going to flip outside, so he's going to flip counterclock and wind up back on clock. So heli in. He's you can see which direction he's turning. He's turning to his left. He's going to flip to his left.
Yes, good work.
And on heli out, he's going to be moving, turning to his left, and he will flip.
Yes,
Here comes heli out to his right.
Yes, good. Wait right there, heli in. Good
Oh
man.
yeah, you're savage.
Awesome.
Effie.
Go to dog
Savage.
Whoa.
All right, guys. Hey, where's my showstopper sound? Hang on, I'll be right back. Is there audio not playing? Hang on. This is not okay. I don't like when things don't work right, guys. Boom, sound effects. Huh. Interesting. Let me see sound levels. That's what I want. Sorry, I'm going to take a moment here. Grrr. Speakers, Scenic Fire 90. All right. Oh, well. So, that's going to do it for this episode of Midnight Disc Dog. Right? Super awesome. Those of you guys who hung out, Byron, super cool to hang out with you. Please do in the future. Check out our website. Shit ton of stuff, man. All I do is go to the front page before I do a live stream and pull up. I pull up the front page here. I'll show you. So boom. Yep. So where's my home? So I'll go home. So I go here, right? And I just, come on, Ron. I go to the front page, and I let the 9 totally random Disc and Dog blogs posts guide me. So I would do a show on Disc Dogger Weekly number 5, 9 distinct and observable properties of the Disc Dog noob, basic body rolls, resource management in the theory, Positive Vibes Season 2 Episode 9, Bite for Drop, our 500th YouTube video, Jam Camp, Yellow Belt Test. You get the idea, right? So you can do the same, man. Jump on our website, do that. If you want to take classes and hook up with me and do some work together, you can do so on our site or hook up with us on Patreon, patreon.com/pvibe. It's going to do it for me, guys. I'm going to play a meme roll to play us out. Gonna see which one do I want to do. I don't know. How about this one? Later.
We on some other shit. Let's get weird, yo. Okay, you got shooters on the lookout. You fast food to me very quickly, you get took out. You like to keep the beef sizzling like a cookout. I had the recipe for disaster, but I threw the cookbook out. I'm on some other shit, man. I'm on some other shit. Weight of the world on my shoulders, wear like if I call out from under it. Probably not, but when I speak, it's like the thunder hits. Lightning strikes, come along, hop aboard the mothership. See, I'm on mark.
Thanks a bunch, Byron. Glad you dug it. Hang out anytime.
I feel unstoppable when I stop and take stock. And if you listen to dumb pop and a lot of whack radio rock, it's like a high voltage shock to your whole system or your instinct. cause the money train went right through you and missed him. Came and enlisted him in the midst of his visit with him. Told him two worlds to collide in a catastrophic cataclysm like let's get weird. We're just in a small serious science.
At the